obstruct or retard the flow of water. The determination of whether any structure, planting, or other material has been placed or permitted to remain within the restricted area in violation of the foregoing shall be made by the village's consulting civil engineer based upon the requirements of the Watershed Development Ordinance. No owner shall alter the rate or direction of flow of water from or to any lot by impounding water or changing the grade or any of these things in any way that violates the ordinance. So when we went back and looked at this language, essentially what it said is
What it says is it's restating the law drainage.
right.
Obstruct the natural.
You can't, and basically the decision was made that as long as no new improvements were being made on the property, if it's just existing property were there, Pat Glenn felt he could reasonably interpret the Watershed Development Ordinance to find no current violation, even though the house was sitting in the middle of this, even though this easement is there, because there was no new impervious surface that had been created. However, if any new improvements were proposed, or a new structure was built, then they would have had to bring it into compliance. So, under the interpretation that we have taken up to now, the existing house is not in violation of the recorded documents and the restrictions that we put in place. And the house is encroaching into the stormwater management easement. With the proposed amendment, it would no longer encroach. If it's not a violation, then why do it? The only answer I've gotten from that is that the owner of the property felt that any prospective buyer looking at the plat and the title and everything else would say, well, there could be a violation here because the village could tell you that you have to do something, and it was a potential issue for a prospective buyer. That's why the owner wanted us to change it now, so that it wouldn't appear to be any kind of violation at all, knowing full well that if he comes back with any new improvement, new house, anything like that, he has to comply with all the provisions of the law.
Have a motion to table.
That's my full explanation.
Second.
No, who made the motion?
Masters.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry.
I enjoyed your explanation.
Second reading of an ordinance prohibiting the existence of certain nuisances in the village and providing remedies for violations. We have a revised ordinance dated 8/15/09. Has everybody had a chance to read it? Any comments on this?
Just one,
Sure.
on page 4, first paragraph, paragraph A. You replaced police chief with director of community services every single time, except the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line from the bottom where you did,
This is,
You're right.
yeah, that's all.
That should be
That should be director of community services.
director.
I like the new one, I think that the wording is much better, I think it's much more enforceable.
well, sure that.
Either, whichever.
Sure that hand up first.
On page 2, number 2, I noticed you took out all of the questionable language.
I'm a slow learner.
But but just to be difficult, so is this the only issue that we've, oh, Russ isn't here, but maybe somebody knows. Is this the turf grass, is that the only issue that we have seen? When Russ was talking about the abandoned houses and how they looked like they weren't maintained, is the uncut grass exactly what he was talking about, or was he talking about something else in addition to
Also
that?
includes weeds, though.
He was
It says grass and
yeah.
weeds.
He was talking about the long,
Yes, you're right, uncut grass and weeds,
That's
yes,
what he was talking about.
and nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay. My one question, but I have another question. On page 3, number 8. Was this taken from something else, or is this all new?
I managed to even write that myself. circumstance, I think it's only, I don't know, Bruce, if you know which property was,
Well,
you
there's
know,
several.
There were two, I believe.
okay,
Yeah,
so,
one of them we've already straightened out. I don't know, one the other day.
It's, the reason I bring that up is I'm not exactly sure how accessory use to serve the principal use of the property by those persons occupying the principal building would be interpreted, and because I had a property in mind where there are usually 4 to 6 cars there. I don't really know how many residents, I don't know whether or not all those cars are in use, and I'm wondering if that might fall under this provision. Does it make a difference that the cars run? Does it make a difference that they're being used?
well, we already prohibit unlicensed automobiles.
Okay, I'm assuming these are licensed.
Okay, so this is saying you can't have more than 2 licensed vehicles overnight outdoors unless they're being used as an accessory use to the principal use, which is the house, by the people occupying the house. So if you live in the house and you have 4 licensed vehicles outdoors, that's fine.
Then fine, right, yeah,
That was my intent.
okay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether this property would apply or not, but maybe we want to go find out what's happening over there and whether or not this would be a problem.
He's a car broker.
Where, on what street are you talking about?
Crestwood.
Oh, I'm actually talking about something on Riverwoods Road, but there might be more than one,
There's
so.
been 1 or 2 on Riverwoods Road, there's one here.
More than
But
20.
yeah, there are different cars.
He's a car broker. Yeah. He brings them home himself.
So maybe we want to investigate those properties in particular, just to find out. I'm not necessarily making a valuation about whether they should be included in the ordinance or they shouldn't. I just don't know whether or not they would based on the circumstances, and whether or not then we would want to prohibit that.
I guess my thought process on this was that if someone is occupying the house and they have licensed vehicles outside, it's too complicated for us to get into that, to figure out why they have so many licensed vehicles outside, unless the village
Okay.
wants to tackle the issue of how many outside vehicles you can
No,
have
I
on
think
a
I
property.
don't.
And
I think I don't want to
tried
tackle the
I-
issue.
I just tried to stay away from
Okay,
that.
if we take that position, that's, I don't think that's a problem.
Anything else? Any?
That's it for me.
Mine was on that same paragraph. I'm just wondering if it was intentional to use the word storage as opposed to park. And is there a distinction there that we're making or not?
Well, now that you mention it, if it said as such outdoor parking, I would prefer rather than storage. Because parking is-
Storage, I think, is actually something different than
Storage
parking.
sounds like, you know, the tires are off and it's just,
It's just being stored there.
Yeah,
Right. So we'll change that word to park.
well, both places where I said stored,
Stored or storage.
maybe we'll say parked.